Hello and welcome to that 90s Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host James Tunstall, and today we're looking back at Slammiversary 2020. The commentators for that show was Josh Matthews and Don Callis, and a lot of hype going into this show, a lot of buzz, and the big mystery would be who would be the fourth man in the main event for the world title match. So let's have a look at the show and let's see what went down. The first match of the night was the Tag Team Open Challenge by the Rascals of Zachary Wentz and Desmond Xavier. After the announcement, a lot of people, myself included, presumed that the Good Brothers of Gallows and Anderson would be the team that would be answering the challenge, especially as the two of them dropped a video to announce they officially joined Impact. But instead, we got a pretty good surprise, and what a great surprise it was. It was actually Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley, the Motor City Machine Guns, and they came out to accept the challenge. It was weird because one of my predictions for that night, that I thought Chris Sabin would actually be in the main event, but I was happy to be wrong, because as much as I love Chris Sabin being a singles competitor, I absolutely love the Motor City Machine Guns, and in TNA/Impact Wrestling history, they was always my favourite tag team. So what a nice surprise. And as the match went on, a lot of back and forth between two, like you would expect from these four people. It was very quick pace between the four men, and the end of the match came when the Machine Guns hit the dirt bomb on Desmond Xavier to get the win on their return. So match delivered, couldn't complain. And after that, we went backstage and we saw both Taya Valkyrie and Rosemary have separate conversations with Johnny Bravo to tell him that they have to win the Knockouts Gauntlet match later that night. As we move into the second match of the night, we see Tommy Dreamer challenge the self-proclaimed TNA World Heavyweight Champion Moose in an old school rules match, which, as I gathered up, basically meant anything goes. And yeah, anything did go, because it was a very hard-hitting match which saw chairs, tables, kendo sticks and trash cans involved. And towards the end of the match, we saw Dreamer pull out the thumbtacks and attempting to go for a power driver, but Moose managed to hit the low blow, and then Moose starts trash talking, saying he's going to end Dreamer's career as he shoves Dreamer's face into the tacks, which was pretty nasty. He then says to Dreamer that he's never watched ECW, and I don't know what it was, but I guess the spirit of ECW awakened in Dreamer as he started firing left and right, but unfortunately for him, Moose then gouged Dreamer's eyes, slammed Dreamer into the tacks, and then hit the lights out spear to get the win, and he remains the self-proclaimed TNA World Champion. Quick side note I should mention about as well, he also gave the belt a new white strap, which, if you know me by now, I love white straps on titles, so very well good match. In the next segment, we saw Gia Miller waiting for the new arrival, and we see that regular Jaguar turned up, but instead of the Gallows and Anderson, it was actually Johnny Swinger. He says the car is a rental car under the name of Anderson, and he asks Miller to park it for him. So we get to the third match of the night, and it's a Knockouts Gauntlet match. So the rules of this match, basically, 2 knockouts start the match, and every minute or so we get a new entrant to the match, and it's basic Battle Royal, Royal Rumble elimination rules over the top rope till we get to the final two, where it does become a traditional one-on-one match. To start the match off, we saw Kylie Rae and Tasha Steelz, before we see our third participant, Taya Valkyrie. But nope, it wasn't Taya Valkyrie, because we quickly realised it was Johnny Bravo, and he gets quickly thrown out by Rae and Steelz. The fourth participant comes out next, and it's Kimberly. Fifth participant comes out after her, and it's Tasha Steelz' tag team partner, Kiera Hogan. And then sixth we see out next, it's Susie, and while she's coming out, we do get our first elimination of the night when Kylie Rae superkicks Tasha Steelz out of the ring. Seventh knockout comes to the ring, and it's Katie Forbes, which we haven't seen her for a while, so it's nice to see her back as she enters the ring and just starts twerking away. Followed by the eighth participant, the Queen Bee herself, Madison Rayne. The ninth knockout comes out next, and it's Jess Havoc, and she comes in and basically destroys everyone. Out 10th, next we see the real Taya Valkyrie, followed by the 11th entrant, Alicia Edwards. And then we get our second elimination as Katie Forbes gets thrown out. The 12th knockout's out next, and it's the newcomer Nevaeh, who's been tagging along with Havoc lately, and they was pretty dominant started tagging into this match. But as they come out, Susie's eliminated, and we see our final entrant come out, and it's Rosemary, who then is followed very closely by second Rosemary, which turns out to be, once again, Johnny Bravo. And Bravo actually eliminates Havoc, which was a bit of a shock, but then he does get eliminated again by Kylie Ray, who then eliminates Manson Rain after. And then after this, we see some quick eliminations as we see Alicia, Nevaeh, and Kira Hogan all get thrown out. And we're down to our final four. It's Kylie Ray, who started the match off, Kimberly, Rosemary, and Taya Valkyrie. And we see Ray eliminate Kimberly, but then she starts getting double teamed by Taya and Rosemary. But we always knew it was going to happen. The partnership soon dissolved, and Taya betrayed Rosemary and eliminated her. So we're down to our final two, Kylie Ray and Taya Valkyrie. And the end of the match came when Kylie Ray hit the super kick on Taya to win the match, and she is our new number one contender for the Knockouts Championship. So pretty fun match, and Johnny Bravo deserves an MVP award because he was so entertaining. So next we see another surprise, as we see the former Heath Slater, now Heath Miller, turn up, and he says he's here to make an impact, pun very much intended. Rohit Raju comes out to interrupt him, but Heath makes short work of him, and yeah, Heath Slater's found a new home, and shout out to his t-shirt, free agent. I'm going to have to grab one of them. The fourth match of the night is happening, and it's Chris Bay, and he's challenging Willie Mack for the X Division title. Bay's out first, and he's followed by Mack, who comes out with a Razor Ramon inspired ring gear, right down to the toothpick, so pretty nice touch from him. And yeah, it's a really good match as well, and in the end it comes when Mack misses his 6-star frog splash. Bay then rakes the eyes, hits the art of finesse, and we've got a new X Division champion. So, good show by both of them. Chris Ray looks like he's a star in the making, and sorry, not Chris Ray, Chris Bay, I do apologise. And yeah, really well done match, so good match. And then we go backstage, and we see it, as so many people's wanted. We see Heath reunite with Rhino. But then Scott D'Amore puts a dampener on the occasion and interrupts them and says Heath can't be here because he's not under contract. So Rhino says he'll figure things out, and he tells Heath to show up at Impact this week. So something to look forward to. And we get to our fifth match of the night, and it's the Tag Team Championship match between the champions, the North, and the unlikely pairing of Ken Shamrock and Sami Callihan. Lots of submission attempts by both teams, a lot of back and forth. But in the end, the dysfunction between Shamrock and Callihan eventually played its part when, after Ethan Page pushed Callihan into Shamrock, the two of them started to argue. But then Shamrock tries to hit a roundhouse kick onto Alexander, but he catches Callihan by mistake. Shamrock then hits a big belly-to-belly off the top rope onto Alexander, and then he goes for a suicide dive to the outside, but the North manages to move out of the way, and then they get Shamrock back into the ring, and they do hit their finish on Shamrock to pick up the win and retain the titles. After the match, the North gets on the mic, and to say that they are the greatest tag team in Impact Wrestling history and they've defeated everyone. But then, you know who it is, the Motor City Machine Guns interrupts them, and he says even though they believe for the past year that the North has been the greatest tag team in Impact Wrestling, to say they're the greatest tag team in Impact history of all time, they disagree with. And Chris Sabin then announced that they've got a match for this week, and it's for the tag team titles. So yeah, the North, who is my current favourite tag team in all of pro wrestling, against my favourite tag team in Impact history. Safe to say I'm a bit excited about that, so I'm looking forward to that. That should be a great match. So we go backstage again, and we see Gia Miller, and she's attempting to get an interview with the Good Brothers, but the locker room door opens, and we see Rich Swann, who promises that once he's recovered from his injury, his eyes will well and truly be on the Impact World title. We'll go back to Rich Swann later on. So yeah, we get to our sixth match tonight, and this was a match that had a lot of buzz. It was the knockout for the Knockouts title between the virtuosa Deonna Purrazzo, and she was taking on the Knockouts champion Jordynne Grace. And as the match carried on, you can see the game plan from each knockout. Jordynne's game plan was basically to use her power, while Deonna's game plan was to just target Jordynne's arms. And the end of the match came when Deonna managed to hook in a double armbar onto Jordynne Grace, and Jordynne basically had no choice but to submit. And we have a new Knockouts champion, so Deonna, who I was very, very fortunate to interview before this. Her prediction was right. She said she'll go into Slammiversary and break Jordan's arm and become the new Knockouts champion. So congratulations, Diona. We then see a quick promo for Bound of Glory on the 24th of October, and yeah, the way Impact's going, I cannot wait for that show, so I'm looking very much to that. And then we get to our main event, the 4-way elimination match for the Impact World title between Ace Austin, Trey of the Rascals, Eddie Edwards, and the mystery opponent. We see the three men make their way to the ring. Ace Austin is once again joined by Madman Fulton. And then our mystery competitor revealed, and it's Rich Swann. He walks to the ring, he walks to the stage with his crutch, throws it down to the floor, and gets himself to the ring. But just before the match started, we then see a video graphic, and we see someone come out with a white hockey mask, and takes the mask off, and it's revealed to be the world-class lunatic, Eric Young. He's making his Impact Wrestling return, and thank you for coming home, Eric. This is a place you belong. So yeah, instead of a 4-way elimination match now, we've got a 5-way elimination match for the championship. So as the match carries on, Eddie dives towards the outside, but he gets caught by Fulton, and he's driven to the ring. And referee Brandon Tolley threatens to disqualify Ace Austin if Fulton refuses to leave ringside and return to the back. So that's Fulton out the equation. And there was a great spot in the match as well when Trey hit Swann with some combinations to send Swann to the floor. Then Trey ducks a clothesline by Edwards and hits a sliding Canadian destroyer onto Swann to the outside, which was a great spot. And it didn't take 20 minutes to set up like certain wrestlers from another setting company, wink wink. And yeah, the first elimination comes after Trey's emotions gets too much and he breaks up Edwards' pin on Ace Austin as Trey wanted to get the pin for himself on Ace. But unfortunately, Eric Young took advantage and hit a devastating power driver onto him. And yeah, to eliminate Trey. And in the lead up towards this match, a lot of people said that would Trey's emotions be his undoing at this match, and unfortunately it was to be true. So yeah, good storytelling. Next elimination comes when Swann counters a power driver attempt by Young into a roll up to get the pin, but then Eric Young, the world-class psychopath, he snaps and he viciously attacks Swann's previously injured leg with a steel chair. And before just finally referees getting them away from it. But then Ace Austin takes full advantage of the situation, hits the Foden Swann to eliminate him. And we're down to our final two. It's down to Ace Austin against Eddie Edwards, two long-term rivals. And one of them is about to become the new Impact World Champion. Edwards manages to counter a fold attempt by Ace Austin into a belly-to-belly suplex, and then he does hit the Boston Knee Party for a 2 count. Ace then manages to finally connect the fold onto Edwards for a 2 count of his own, and then Ace tries to jump off the top rope to hit Eddie, but Eddie avoids him, hits the Dyad Flosion to get the 1-2-3, and after quite a few years we have a new world champion, Eddie Edwards. Very well deserved, one the hardest working guys in Impact, so I was happy with the result. I'll be honest, I was rooting Ace Austin. I think I was being biased because he came onto my show for a chat and I love talking to him, but Eddie Edwards, very much deserved, and he's a great champion, a reliable worker, will never let you down, unlike some other people we will not give them the time of day of mentioning. But yeah, Ace Austin, congratulations. Unfortunately, straight after the match, Fulton decided to come back and attack Eddie from behind, and Austin and Fulton started double teaming. But then we see the good brothers of Gallows and Anderson turn up, and they start teasing. In fact, they're going to join forces with Ace Austin and Fulton before attacking them and hitting the Magic Killer on Austin before celebrating with the new champion, having a few cold ones. And I couldn't help but thinking to the back of my head, is this the new Aces and Eights? But I don't think it is. And as Josh Matthews and Don Callis signs off, we see a video package play. And I'm not saying they saved the best for last, but they saved a big announcement for last. As the video plays, we see the return of EC3, Ethan Carter III, as Slammiversary goes off the air. What a way to end the show. Final thoughts on the pay-per-view. This pay-per-view had a lot of buzz going into it and a lot of hype, and I was one of them myself. I was really excited for this pay-per-view, and it delivered. Like I said, I was very fortunate to have Ace Austin and Deonna Purrazzo on the show leading up to it. I was fortunate to talk to them, and they sounded more excited for the show as I was, and this show delivered. And yeah, there one gripe, there was a couple of audio problems which couldn't be helped, but besides that, I really enjoyed the show. It never dragged one bit, it flowed perfectly. The debuts of Heath Miller, the Good Brothers were great, and seeing the returns of Motor City Machine Guns, Rich Swann, and Eric Young was perfect. And it's amazing how straight away Eric Young is portrayed as a top of the card wrestler straight away. Perfect booking. And obviously, right at the end, we got the big announcement of the return of EC3, which that's going to prove to be a game changer. So yeah. But yeah, and not just that as well. Slammiversary was actually trending #1 all night over the likes of the UFC, which never gets beaten when it comes to world trending. So yeah, as I said before, the show was great, and yeah, the future of Impact looks very bright. Kudos to Scott D'Amore, Don Callis, all the guys what's working there in production, all the wrestlers, all the men and women. Kudos to everyone, you. I love this show, and like I said, the future of Impact looks very bright. So that's the end of the review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't watched Slammiversary, please do so, because it's definitely worth it. And yeah, I've been James Tunstall. Thanks for watching this video. If you could please like the video and hit the subscribe button and the bell icon. We've got a lot of things coming to this channel. We've got a lot of interviews coming up with Impact and also with some other legends of the business. And we've got some new content coming out, and we've got some very exciting news to come out. So yeah, please like the video, tell your friends, subscribe. It would greatly help the channel out. And please keep tuning into Impact Wrestling. And you, my fellow UK fans, you can watch Impact Wrestling every Wednesday night on the Sky Channel 192 on the Fight Network. And yes, this company, after a lot of mismanagement from previous regimes, this company's on the up and up, and I'm so excited. So, thanks to everyone for watching. I hope to see you in the next video.